So tonight on Aristeia 99, we're covering Parvati. So let's get right into it. Parvati is one of the core characters from Aristeia. She weighs in with a 4 initiative, a little bit below average, 5 movement, 5 energy, as you would normally expect from a core set, and 3 health. So she does go squish a little bit faster than normal. Defensively speaking, she comes in with a green and a blue. This is pretty darn good. Very worthwhile there. For her brawl, she has a blue, not too bad. And she also has an orange for her disengage. So these are pretty good stats all around. Very likable. Health's a little worrisome, but especially when you consider the role she plays in the game. Her character switch is a single bang, and she receives a +2 state token. Now there's a trick here, of course, is when you use the switch. Ideally, you'd like to use it when it's actually not your turn. The reason for that is should you use the bang to activate her switch during her turn, it will flip over from the +2 to the +1 side at the end of her turn. So while this is not horrible, certainly a +1 would give her 5 initiative, and that's always nice. You definitely would rather have the +2, so she at least gets to enjoy one turn as +6 initiative. Now, Parvati is a healing character, a support character, but her first ability we're going to go over is 2 energy. It's Submachine Guns Akimbo. It's an orange, and yellow with range 2 to 6. This is a pretty good attack. It's got a nice range to it. It's got a decent amount of offense to it using the 2 orange dice. The yellow can contribute, as always, any number of things, but it's best for the bang. So should she use it, this attack, she is very likely to get her switch. It's very easy for her to hit. If nothing else, you can keep on bringing it up in most cases. So, however, as a range 2/6 attack, it means she can't deal with anyone right next to her. This is very important and is kind of the reason why she wants to be at a distance, or at least have someone helping protect her. Some say Maximus or, for instance, even Hexer to force her away from an opponent. Her first green ability is called Reset. Now, this is a great ability. It's an orange and a yellow. You need 1 success, which makes it fairly reliable in and of itself, I'd say. The trick being, of course, is if you are stunned, Parvati will have a harder time hitting this ability. It's range 0 through 5, so it can affect her, and it removes all states on the target. So at 2 energy, you could basically possibly get 2 targets in a turn if you have a +1 energy from, say, Musashi or Gata, possibly 3. Now, it's important to note it says on the target. So, should you see a character with a positive, basically a buff state on them, such as, say, focus, then you can actually clear that off of them and they will lose the benefit of that. This is actually an interesting way to deal with, say, Bachman, who is usually carrying all sorts of terrible and horrible states on him to pass around and inflict on other people. You could clear those states off of him. Likewise, with, say, Hammerhead, you could clear all the states off of Hammerhead. Characters like Hippolyta, who gets to hand around positive initiative bonuses. Again, you can clear those off of them. This is offensive and defensive, depending on team composition, both yours and theirs. At the very least, you can clear off a -2 energy imposed on your team coming back from the bench after the infirmary. and this alone makes her very valuable. Next up, for 1 energy, is the ability most people think of when they think of Parvati, and that's Medikit. For 1 energy, you get to roll a single orange die, not bad odds, and range 0-5, so herself or someone else, and you can heal the target of 1 damage. Now, obviously, you'll want to be healing your own teammates, but there might be times, would you necessarily want to heal an enemy teammate? Perhaps. Certainly, a character like Muter gains initiative bonuses when he's injured. So, it's conceivable you might come up in a situation where you want to heal an opponent, but I wouldn't put too much time thinking into that possibility. If you come into that sort of outlier situation, I think it might be obvious. But no, just right off the board, her stats are pretty good. Her abilities are very good. One thing to note with Parvati is she does not have any orange passive abilities. So do keep that in mind when putting your team together. Certainly other characters like Padre Mendoza have their own abilities you may want to keep track of. So we're going to take a quick look at her tactics cards. First off will be Reset 2.0. During one of your character's activations, so this is an important thing that she brings to the party, remove all states from a single character in the hexadome. So even when she's not the active character or even in the hexadome, she contributes a fantastic state clearing ability. More than that, it's all states from a single character. It doesn't have to be a character on your team. So what I was saying earlier on about you could possibly wipe positive buff states off of enemy characters, or if you wanted to clear off, say, Hippolyta, or even worse, again, Bachman, you could do that. So, now, could that change? As far as I know, that's fine. Next up, we're going to look at Nano Cloud. During one of your character's activations, heal 1 wound to each ally. Great ability. I don't think anyone's ever going to complain with that. Now, does this necessarily give you the best bang for your buck? That's kind of hard to say, actually. I think it'll depend on the game you're playing, the scenario you're playing, the characters you're playing. The one real nice thing here is there's no range to it. So it doesn't matter where they are in the hexadome, you can fix them up by 1 point. And sometimes, honestly, that's all you need. Next up would be Advanced Surgery. At the beginning of the preparation step, remove all states from a single character in the bench. Generally speaking, there's only 1 state you have to worry about when a character's on the bench, and that's the -2 energy. And honestly, that in and of itself is well worth the risk of bringing in Advanced Surgery. So, and when I say the risk, it's basically opportunity cost. You don't necessarily want, whenever you pick any of these cards, and you need to decide what not to pick. So Advanced Surgery, if you never have anyone in the infirmary, you'll never get to use this. Can that happen? That can happen. Again, it depends on the scenario, depends on what you and the other player are doing. And certainly will take up space in your hand. And then again, you've got cards like this, Field Analysis. After revealing initiative cards, your character has +3 initiative for this comparison. And again, this is probably the nice thing with Parvati is you'll notice that every card I've mentioned so far has one thing in common. Anybody can use them. Now, the timing is specific, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Parvati. It doesn't have to be anyone else in your is not restricted to any one character. And I think this makes her a wonderful addition to any team because of that. Certainly when you've got, say, Wild Bill, for instance, he's got a lot of cards that are just for him. When you look at some of the expansions, for instance, a lot of the legendary Bahadur tactics cards are only usable by the specific character. So, I mean, really, when you're looking at Parvati in a nutshell, she is a team player. She has brings a lot to the deck in terms of her tactics cards that are available. She's got a pretty decent bit of offense going. She can speed herself up. She can speed up other characters using field analysis. She can clear off states that would otherwise debilitate you. And there are other characters that can mess with states. You have Eclipse, who can flip state tokens over. You have Bachman, who can pass them around. But for 2 energy, the ability to get rid of all of them. So purely buffing for your team or debuffing for the other team. No, that's a good thing. Now, do keep in mind if a character of yours has a buff on them and she clears all states, that gets rid of the good ones too. But say if you've got a character who, say Gata, who's and she's been immobilized, go ahead, knock yourself out, get her moving. If you have Wild Bill and he's dazzled, he's no good when he's dazzled. This won't affect Smoke. Smoke isn't really a state. But generally speaking, everything else, she's good. I've been listening to Enter the Hexadome, and they've been doing a lot of their podcasts recently. They've been doing a lot of good thought and thinking, and I wish I was smart as those guys. And they could probably get more into it. But no, she's an excellent character. I think she adds a lot to a team and is a very solid character. And like all the box core set characters, she's arguably one of the best choices for what she does. So very straightforward, very simple, great to have on there. So if you like this video, we've got more in our Aristeia playlist. Aristeia 99 is full of videos just like this. We also have Saturday night gaming streams where we're playing Aristeia and maybe some other things. You can also catch us on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/shamelessmayhem. Additionally, if you've been listening to us talk about Aristeia this whole time, we've also got links down below in the description, and you can buy Aristeia, extra dice, from Amazon. We'll get a little bit of a kickback. That's a great way to support the channel. So thank you very much, and look forward to the next Aristeia 99. Have a good night.